Hey folks, Chad here with Exodus Trail Cameras. Today is December 6th, 2019, and we are out here doing a short video on the Exodus render battery life when coupled with a SP18 standalone power source. We get a lot of questions that roll in each and every day, and a lot of times the general questions can be repetitive. So you're going to be seeing a lot of these videos that answer some general information be posted more and more on our YouTube channel. So this specific video, as I said, is related to battery life with the Exodus render and the SP18. Right now we have this camera set up with a pack of fresh lithium batteries, which offers about 3 amp hours of capacity. Now this camera is also powered, as you see this cable here running around the tree, is also connected to this SP18 standalone power source. The SP18 has internal 18650 rechargeable cells inside the actual panel that offer, again, about 3 amp hours of capacity. Now with that product, fully charged, you have 3 amp hours of capacity. That'll pull primary power from this camera. So the camera is always going to pull from an external source before it starts to pull from the internal source. So 3 amp hours of capacity in an external source, 3 amp hour capacity in the internal source. It gives you about 6 amp hours of capacity. Now that 6 amp hours is only going to include the total charge of those internal batteries and these internal batteries. With the SP18, it is constantly recharging those internal cells. So as we sit here in December, in Northeast Ohio, typically we get a lot of clouds this time of year, a lot of gray skies, but also note that there's no foliage. So the pros and the cons, they kind of outweigh themselves when you're setting these things up and running them this time of year. But we do have that camera pointed to the south to maximize the daylight sun exposure time, while the sun's up. So we're gonna go ahead and set this camera up in real time, in photo mode, with a 15-second trigger delay. And again, this is overlooking a little micro food plot. We're gonna dump some corn out here about 60 feet away from the camera to try and get as many photos as we can in a very short amount of time. And then we're going to add those photos and document this inside this video, as you'll see next, over the length and time span from today, December 6th, until this camera goes completely dead, or if it goes dead at all. So we're gonna set this up, go ahead and walk away, and then just monitor this remotely and see how it does. So this will give you guys an exact count, again, picture count of what this camera is capable of when coupled with the SP18, and also the settings, and then also the signal strength. So right now, sitting here, this camera has 3 bars of service. So not 5, not 4, not 2, but we're sitting at 3 bars, which is probably pretty average for most cell setups. So if you're having less signal, then this number is probably going to come down a little bit. If you have stronger signal, if you're at 4 bars or 5 bars, again, the battery life is probably going to be extended a little bit. And again, this is with real-time settings, 15-second trigger delay. As you adjust those upload frequencies or upload intervals, you can also maximize the battery life and extend that even further. So we're back at a render location that we hung December 6th of last year. So December 6th, 2019, we hung this camera on the edge of this fall food plot, really for 2 reasons. 1, obviously to get photos of deer, but 2, to document how long this render setup, it's coupled with an SP18 right over on the other side of the tree facing south. But we wanted to document and see how long this set would run. That's one of the most common questions we get. How long is the battery life last with the render in the field? When you use an SP18, how many months can you run it? So this setup has been here for 6 months. Today's June 15th or 16th, and this camera's still running, 100% battery life, has not shut down. And really the only reason that we're here to pull this is because the spring greenup has exploded. This branch has come down the field of view, and we're getting a bunch of false triggers. There's really no value in this food plot here during the summer months, so we thought this would be a good time to come in, pull it, and wrap up this documentation of how long this is actually going to last in the field. So we're going to open this up and get a photo count of how many photos this camera has transmitted. And again, this thing has been in photo mode in real time
We've sent it OTA commands on and off for several months, updating firmware, formatting SD cards, things like that. So this is a really good in the field, real life battery life test for all those folks who are wondering about the Exodus render. So let's get this thing opened up. We'll unplug the SP18. So real quick, we're just going to run through how we have this camera actually programmed to provide you guys some documented evidence of, this camera's programmed the way we're saying it's programmed. So we're going to go ahead and run through the user menu real quick. The first thing we're going to look at is the upload interval. As we mentioned, it's in real time. So this camera, after it's taken a picture, it's transmitting in approximately 15 seconds. We have great service here, 4 or 5 bars, so service is not an issue. So next thing, we're going to go down and check the mode. This has been in photo mode for the last 6 months. And then we're going to look at our trigger delay. As I mentioned, the whole reason we're in here pulling this is because the spring green up and the foliage and everything has exploded. We're getting a ton of false triggers. So right now we actually have this programmed to about a 1 hour trigger delay because of those false images or false triggers. So we wanted to minimize those until we had a chance to come out and actually pull this set down. We're on a fall food plot right now. This food doesn't have much value to the local deer herd. We have some standard SD card cameras around on this property. So this we're going to pull this render down and take it elsewhere where we can put it to good use. But through the last 6 months, this was set to anywhere from 15 to a 30-second trigger delay. That way we were able to get as much data as possible from this fall food source. But this camera, since December 6th, has taken 3,797 photos, plus the OTA command. So a little less than what we expected. We actually thought number was probably going to be double that. But again, we sent this camera a couple format commands with SD cards. So there might have been some pictures there that we lost. But 6 months, 4,000 plus pictures, and we're still at 100% battery life. We hope this provides some insight for everyone as far as how long the batteries and an SP18 is going to last when used with the render in the field for essentially a real life battery life experiment. And we wanted to make sure we documented this so you guys could see exactly what we do here at Exodus to get the most out of our trail cameras. So if you guys have a comment, drop it below, or a question, drop it below. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for us and smash that subscribe button.